Everywhere we go, people want to know who we are and where we come from. So who are you and where do you come from?
My name is Jason Garvey. I come from a little town called Clondalkin.
I didn't know where you're from.
Yeah, Clondalkin, yeah. Just that Neilstown there.
Right. So Jay, I can call you Jay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Jay, I don't know, I just started following you. I just came across you on Instagram because you have your own podcast.
Yeah, that's
And what's the podcast called?
Podcast is called The Did You Hear Show. We're up and running now just a little over a year. But like that as well, I don't know if I came across you first or you came across me first, but I just went on a little podcast hunt trying to find everyone that does podcasts in Ireland and trying to interact with them, you know. So
this is our first crossover.
Yeah, it's my second, I think. Second. Now the first one I done is no longer a podcast.
Okay.
So yeah, let's say it's our first one as well. Yeah.
And this is the first time that you're going to sit and talk to somebody.
Yeah, this is my first time being on the opposite end of the table. Yeah, 100%. I don't know what to expect either. I don't know where this is going.
Listen, I'm just going to get into it. Mm-hmm. So I was watching your page a long time, and then you put up a post, and it stopped me in my tracks.
Right.
I just was like, oh my God, because I just didn't know any of that about you. You know what I mean? And then I seen the post. So do you want to tell me what the post was and tell us about it?
Right, which post are you referring to? Because I post some crazy shit on my personal and the Did You Hear Show page, so I'm not 100%. I have an idea what post it is, but I'm not 100% sure.
What do you think it is?
I think it's about the one of me sharing a picture of my neck. Mm-hmm. Right, so that's the one you're referring to. Right, so it kind of leads to kind of how the podcast started as well, to be honest. So basically I was in let's say 13-year relationship, and me and my partner had said, look, let's just do our own thing, we'll figure ourselves out and see where it goes. Now, we used to break up and get back together all the time. Stages, we went for 2 months, 3 months breaking up, and we'd get back together. So I never intended on seeing anyone or anything like that. I thought it was just another time where we broke up, you know. Except this time, she told me she was seeing someone else. Now obviously that hurt me, but at the same time I didn't believe it, because it was like, nah, it never happens. Do you know what I mean? And one day I got a text off her. I'm nearly sure this is how it went now. Me memory is very vague around it, but this is the majority of what happened basically. I got a feeling that she was seeing someone, and I wanted to see it with my own eyes. Now, this sounds like I'm a psycho, but I genuinely believe everyone who was in my position would have done the same. I don't regret it, to be honest with you. Not that I don't regret it. I do regret it, but I know I'd do it again if I was in the same circumstances, you know. So, basically, I went down to the apartment where I used to live, where she was living at the time, and I waited outside because I was told that she wasn't in, but the lights were on in the apartment and the telly was on, and she was never one to leave on plugs or anything like that, you know. So I knew there was something not up. And when you walk to the back of the apartment, you can actually see directly into the bedroom. The bed was made, so I knew she wasn't there, you know. So my head was kind of all over the place. And long and behold, she walked out of an apartment across the road with someone that we used to joke about. So that was the night that I went down to the park and tried to kill myself. It was very hard to take, not only because I just found out that, Jesus, we are legitimately broke up. I confronted her when she walked out of the house. I wasn't angry, just more upset. You know, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I wasn't expecting this at all. Like, I said, him of all people. So yeah, I was just absolutely heartbroken. Like, the whole thing for me was, I was unemployed for a while, I was self-employed for a while, and I had finally got a job. I'd got a few bob together. My plan was, I thought this was just a break. So when we got back together, my plan was, right, let's surprise her that, like, we have a few funds for a mortgage here, and we have money for a new car. Like, this is a perfect fresh start. So when I seen her walk out of the house, my whole mind just went black. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't see anything but a rope. Do you know what I mean? It was absolutely heartbreaking. Like, I can't explain the pain at all. But what happened was, I always said after I had me kids, I'd never even consider it ever. And
had you considered it grow like?
Yeah, I tried. I took 130 pills when I was 17, I think. I ended up in hospital for a few days and stuff. Again, that was over a girl, believe it or not. Some things never change. And I did contemplate it a few times as well prior to that. But that was kind of nail in the coffin for me, you know. But I went down to the park and I didn't think of anything. Like I said, my mind was black. I didn't have time to think of the kids or whoever I'd hurt. And I am that type of person where all them thoughts had entered my mind. But after walking away from her, and you know what, I think she was very nervous. I think she thought like maybe I was going to flip, or because she laughed when I confronted her. Now, I personally think it was a nervous laugh. I don't think it was a malicious laugh, you know. Now, just let me say as well, she didn't do anything wrong. She was single. You know, I just assumed that it was another time that we had broken up. So, nothing against her and that, nothing against the fella. But when I went down to the park, tied the rope around my neck, and my phone fell out of my pocket. And I seen my screensaver was the 2 kids. So I was like, oh fuck. It's very hard to explain. Like when I had the rope around my neck, I didn't really do a good job. I was able to kind of grab the branch. I didn't do a long enough. Like I don't know if people want to know how the graphics of it, but basically I really struggled. Like I felt instant regret when it happened, and I was struggling as hard as I could, and I ended up snapping the branch. And I just started crying then. And then I think I stayed in my bedroom then for about 3 weeks just crying. And
take me back. So you said there that you just seen black, right? Because I think it is important. We will put trigger warning out with it. But I think it is really important for people to be aware of maybe when family succeed in this. I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is it an autopilot? Is it you see nothing else but this is the only way you're going to get relief from your heartbreak?
See, what went through my head was the kids were happy. Do you know what I mean? The kids were none the wiser. The kids, I don't see me kids near as much as what I used to. I didn't sign up for being a single parent. So that was already haunting. You know what I mean? I never wanted to be the weekend dad. I wanted to be the Monday to Friday, Monday to Sunday, I should say, bring them to school. As much as I hated doing homework when I was with them, like when we were together and living in a house, I miss it as soon as I stopped. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I signed up for. So the fact that I lost that had already killed me. And when me and my ex-partner broke up, her family completely shut me out. So to be honest with you, it was just like that whole side literally went on holidays and died in a plane crash. And the sad thing was, I was actually closer to her family than I was my own. So it was very hard for me to accept. It was like I never felt loved in my life, ever. As a kid, as a grown-up, even in the previous relationship, never felt love one day in my life. The only people I feel love from is my kids. And that's the honest truth. So it's hard to kind of, not that it's hard to go back. Like I'm in a much better place now. Like I'm actually surprised I haven't got upset yet. I'm normally very emotional, you know, but it's hard to go back and see where I was. I just, like I said, I had planned on getting a mortgage. I had planned on marrying the girl. Do you know what I mean? I thought it was just another breakup, and when that kind of put the nail in the coffin, seeing I leave someone's house who we joked about, I'm like, not only, like, fair enough you're single, but that's disrespectful. That's someone who you told me you never liked, you'd never go near. It's someone we joked about you being with in the past. And, like, I'm not going to lie, there was thoughts that, gee, like, was that going on when we were together? Do you know what I mean? How am I supposed to know? Like, there was time, like, she done some work from home, and there was times where she'd say, oh, can you bring the kids to your ma for an hour? I have work to do. Like, all them thoughts entered my head, you know what I mean? But I had a conversation with a family member then. My brother was actually renovating his house at the time, and I had a conversation with a family member, and my ex-girlfriend had called him and said, you need to check on Jay, like he's in a horrible place. And he had a talk with me, and I broke down straight away because it was still very touchy for me. I was trying to stay busy because I knew if I stayed in darkness, it was just trouble.
Was this so you go, and then when you said there that your phone fell, it was the kid's screensaver, and you were struggling to get yourself out of the rope.
Yeah.
Is that what you were saying?
Yeah.
Right.
The branch eventually snapped, and it was only the branch was there. Every time I walked past, I go in and see if the branch and the rope is still there. And only 3 or 4 weeks ago, now this is probably going back a year ago, only 3 or 4 weeks ago went back and was only gone then, you know. But what I wanted to actually do on my podcast was I wanted to do a little documentary on that day and what I was going through to try and help people. I wanted to document it and actually film that branch. So kind of raising that it's gone from where I am to from where I was to where I am today, you know. But it was like you said, yeah, it was just black. I didn't see anything else, nothing else. And
then when it snaps, what are you thinking? What's in your head in that moment?
I just screamed, crying. I sat there for 2 hours. 2 hours against a tree, roaring, crying, and then I went on to Google Photos and I was just swiping through pictures of the kids, and I was like, you selfish bastard, you know, what the fuck. But like that, I would never ever contemplate doing that like that. Like if people have actually said to me that I've told the story, like, Jay, I'm shocked that you even attempted to do that, because it's clear how much you love your kids. And I was like, I didn't think anybody. I didn't. It was like, how do I explain? It was like I was paralysed to do anything else. I literally only thought a way of killing myself.
Yeah.
And that's what I was. I didn't think about anybody. And yeah, it was just a horrible place. But it's crazy now looking back, because as much as look, I'm not 100%. I don't think I'll ever be 100%, being honest with you. But like where I am today to now, like I thought I'd never get better. I thought I'd never get over it. I couldn't comprehend how someone that's supposed to love you could do that. Do you know what I mean? But that's what I thought. Maybe she didn't love me, you know. So. And
when you said then, like in that 2 hours, is someone looking for you? Is someone? No. Is that hard?
I'm used to it. Okay. I'm used to it. Like the first time I done it as well. So the first time I done it, I was 17 or something. I took a load of pills, like I said, and I took all the pills, and then I shit myself because I felt my body doing mad things, and everyone knew I was upset about the breakup with my girl. I sound like a psycho. Every girl that I get will fucking do this. When I took the pills, no one was coming up to me room. Not like I was making noises trying to get people's attention. It was a cry for help, like, and no one. I had to send a message saying goodbye, and I wasn't even saying goodbye. I didn't want to kill myself then. I was literally saying goodbye just so someone would come, and it took them a while to come up as well, you know. So it probably should be harder, but I'm used to it.
Why do you think? So take it back. You said there again about the fact that you've never felt love in your life. At what age and why? Why have you never? I don't like. So I was a middle child. So to me, like, if you're not the last child or the first child, I don't know. I never, like, we're not a loving family. We wouldn't have these conversations. We wouldn't hug. We wouldn't kiss. We're just not like that as a family, and that's grand. Like, each to their own, you know. But I always wanted to be that family, so I got real close to my friend who lived up the road from me. His mum and dad were kind of arguing a bit as well, but he was always loved. He was spoiled. Now, he was an only kid. You don't realise that when you're younger, though. Do you know what I mean? So I was seeing all the love and affection he was getting, and his dad was actually really good to me. He probably showed me more than my own dad did, you know. Now, my dad was he was always working and all. He didn't really have time, to be fair to him. But
Yeah, I never ever felt that. And don't get me wrong, I was a little bollocks as a kid, so it wouldn't have helped. I was always getting in trouble. I was always fucking robbing out my ma's purse and all, you know. I never got anything as a kid, I thought, you know, I never asked for anything. But when I was a kid, I thought I never got anything because I was seeing my friend who was the only child, spoiled, getting brought to Wexford every week, fucking getting £2 to go to the shop. There's me with 50p, you know. So I was always looking for more, but I never ever felt love. Even like in all my relationships, I always felt like I was the one kind of pushing for it, and I was always the one trying the hardest and keeping it together. If we stopped it, it would stop. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, how do I explain not feeling loved, I suppose? I don't really know. It's a tough question, actually. It's a tough question.
I think it's a generational thing in the sense that, same as us, my man and dad wouldn't have been so affectionate to me. Dad had a massive heart attack when he was 50 and then realised, you know what I mean, and now he'd hug and he'd cry and he'd show his emotions, but it was the generation, they just didn't do it. You know what I mean? And I think, especially if coming from a large family, it just didn't happen. And I'll be honest with you, and I'll say to you that, I knew I was loved. Of course I was loved, but it wasn't until I kind of met Paul that I seen a family that was like a really loving, kissy, huggy family. That I was like, oh, well, this is different. Do you know what I mean? But growing up, we were all kind of, there was one that got away with everything, you know what I mean? But we were all, it was a generational thing, I think.
No, I definitely do believe that. And look, don't get me wrong, if you ask me, does my man dad love me, I'll say, yeah, 100%. But I suppose maybe loved is the wrong word. Maybe I should be using affectionate. And like, I'm not going to lie to you, my sister used to always watch the Kardashians and I got hooked on it. And I used to see how they dealt with life and think like, that's the way every family should be, you know, like they, obviously it's a bit for the cameras as well, but I genuinely believe they are like that. Like they do talk about their problems, they do see it out, they don't not talk for weeks and days, do you know what I mean? So I was seeing that, and then another friend I had around the corner, there was two in his family, himself and his sister, and his man and dad used to love me. I don't know why. I've no idea why, but they used to love me, and it got to a stage where I was going around to their house to have Christmas dinner rather than my own house and all, you know. So I don't know, my household is maybe affectionate is the right word, but I suppose that comes down to feeling loved, and that's where that comes from. And
then you said at 17 you did that. Then was there mental health issues there at that age, do you think?
See, the thing is, right,
or was it attention?
Both, I think, right? So I have never, even today, I've never gone and got diagnosed with depression or anything like that. And I know for a fact I have 100 bleeding symptoms under. I don't like putting names to that, if I'm honest with you. I'm sure I have anxiety. If you tell me the meaning of anxiety, I'll say, yeah. Do you know what I mean? But I never titled that on myself. I was definitely an attention seeker, 100%. I was a class clown. I always wanted everyone to be laughing at me. And my counsellor even said to me, it's probably down from never getting at home. You know, your dad's so busy with work, your ma's so busy, she had 5 kids, you know, so maybe that's what you were crying out for. So yeah, probably.
Just looking for attention, you think?
Yeah, a bit of both. Like I said, so my childhood would have been amazing outside the house. As in, like, I'd always have good clothes. We'd always kind of, like, if we had a bike, we'd get it fixed if it was broken. We never really looked for that. And my friends were great. Used to, like, be out from 9 till 9, do you know what I mean? But then when we went home, there was violence in the gaff, and I feel like I was the black sheep in the gaff. I was always the one that was getting hooked around, and I was always, like, I expected a lot from my brother during the time where me man and dad were going through shit, and I didn't see it from him, so I kind of stepped up. But then I was putting myself in poxy situations. Like,
stepped up in a way to protect your man.
Yeah, so I never forget, me mum and dad were having an argument upstairs, and we were all sitting in the sitting room. Now, if you say this to me, brother, he probably won't remember, but I remember.
Each person has their own memories of their lives.
And I will never forget this. I remember screaming, crying on the sofa, saying, like, come on, we all have to go up and help her, you know. Now, I don't know what was going on up there. I just heard me ma crying and loud bangs or whatever. And I was asking everyone to come up with me, and no one would come up with me. And I remember going up and getting punched around. And I don't think, even to this day, I don't think I've ever gotten over that. And like, you fucking made me go up there. Like, there was another situation that happened in my family that I can't really talk about, where it led to me getting involved. And I feel like why is it always me? Why am I always the one that, like, now maybe they're right not getting involved, it's not their business, but I feel like there's a line, and if you cross that, your family need to step in. Do you know what I mean? You need to have someone there to stand up for you. And I feel like it's fucking always me, you know?
Is it because you're stronger than them, maybe? They feel that you're stronger?
See, I would say the opposite. I would say, like, mentally anyway, it'd definitely be the weakest. Now,
then why were you always put up to?
It's just my personality. I don't know. Like, I just always felt sorry for people in certain situations. Like, I was never really, like, if someone was upset, I always felt it for them. I don't know, it's very hard to explain, but I always want to help people. I always want to try, like, even though, Jesus, sometimes I really shouldn't, and sometimes it ends up worse. But I just have that personality. I don't know where I got it from, or where.
So they never stopped you from getting involved?
No, so they didn't really have a choice either, do you know what I mean? I don't blame them on stopping me. I blame them for not helping me, or them getting involved first, you know? But like that, like, they probably said they did sometimes, and I don't remember, you know? Like you said, everyone has their own story, but that particular time where I got a good hide, and I'd never forget that. Now, even saying that, I hate saying this because I was on that thing on RTE, the Love Experiment, coming soon, and we touched on a little bit about me past as well. And I don't want to make me dad sound like a fucking monster. Like, everything me dad has done, he's gone through his own shit. It doesn't justify anything he's done, but that's the way it was back in the day as well. Do you know what I mean?
Did you ever have a conversation with your dad about it?
My dad never stops apologising to me over it. My dad actually feels like the way I am today is because of him. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I agree, because I think you are what your life brings you up to be. Like, I wouldn't be, and people can call me big-headed for saying this, but I know I'm an amazing father. Now, from the story we had earlier, people might disagree with that, but outside of that, I do everything for my kids. My kids are my life. My son's my best friend. My daughter, I can't even explain the relationship we have, you know. And that's because of my father. I swore I will never, ever treat my kids the way my dad treated me. I'll never lay a finger on my kids. It doesn't do that. It just makes them scared. Do you know what I mean? What's hurting a kid? What does that do? It just makes them scared. It doesn't fix anything.
And was there drink involved with your dad?
No, I wouldn't even say that. No, like, my dad lost his brother at a young age. He lost his mum, and you know, these are only things, like I said, when you go counselling yourself, you kind of try and find where did this all stem from, and it definitely did stem from my childhood. But then you have to take the other people into consideration and what they're going through, you know. Like I said, it doesn't justify anything, but you just need to try to be a bit more understanding. Everything happens for a reason. Everyone goes through shit to lead to certain shit they do, you know.
And when he said sorry to you from the very beginning to now, was your attitudes different?
Well, I'll be honest with you, it's only really been the last couple of years where the apology came out. Now, I'll share a little story with you that kind of hurt. My whole life I wanted to batter me that. I was like, I can't wait to grow up, I'm going to punch it around, you know. And there was a stage where me and my brother were having an argument in the kitchen. Now, my brother is gay and he has a very high voice, you know, and I have a very deep voice. Even when we're doing podcasts, my thing is down here and the lads are up there, you know. And we were having an argument, and I wasn't even that hostile, you know, but he was getting very high, and I was like, shut the fuck up or something like that. My dad was standing beside me and he put his arm on me. He grabbed my arm and was like, shut the fuck up, you, or something, don't start. And I didn't really take note of it when he done it the first time, but when we continued the argument, he kind of squeezed it harder, and then I kind of looked at him and was like, what the fuck are you gonna do? And I was like, this is my opportunity now. And then we started having a screaming match, and I picked him up and threw him through my kitchen table. I lifted my fist back and I started roaring, crying. Couldn't hit him. Taught me whole life it's what I wanted to do, and I just couldn't do it. I went up, this is me thing, I go up to my room for a few hours and I have a cry. That's what I do. But I just couldn't do it. I couldn't. I seen fear in his eyes, and it was like I was looking at me as a little kid, and I was like, no, you're not getting it. I'm not giving it to you. Do you know what I mean? So I just refused to do it.
That just hit me like a ton of fucking bricks.
Really?
Because, as I said to you, it's a generational thing. And now my dad was my dad, and like everyone would say to me, and you'll be like, I'm doing it. Everyone would say to me, you need to talk, you need to have someone needs to interview you. So I'm like, not happening. You know what I mean? This is your platform, it's not mine. But my dad nowadays, like, he'd say to me, I'm not able, Rebecca, like, you know, my brother is a drinker, and he's 50 this year, like, you know, when he's drinking, he just, you know, my man dad in their 70s, it caused my dad nothing but trouble, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And my dad's be like, I'm not able for him anymore. I'm not able. And that generation of man, like your dad probably is not the same age as my dad, but when they realise they're not able, does that fear that you saw in your dad's eyes when you went? So, because you have to forgive them.
100%. I forgive me. Like, this is what I'm saying. It's at a stage now where my dad's annoying me. I'm like, Dad, will you stop saying sorry? Yeah. Like, I understand. Like, obviously as a man, and it does take experience. It takes years of growing up to understand. It takes your own life experiences to understand. And I love me dad dearly. Like, if that hadn't happened to him, jeez, I'd be heartbroken. I love him very much, and I forgive him, and I know he regrets. And that's the main thing. He regrets, and he'd never try acting again, because I punch him around. But he never would. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like we have a very like, my dad, he
do you respect him?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I do respect him. I don't agree with the way he thinks, and sometimes he's hard to listen to after a while, you know, but he means very well now. Like, he's a completely different person than what he was. And being honest, I think he was humbled, because after breaking up with my mum, he met a Filipino woman, and he got married, and they bought a house together, and she ended up cheating on him, and he was left with nothing. Now, and this is where all this forgiveness started with me dad. Like I said, when I see people struggling, it's where I kind of feel the need to step in. So, my dad had got cancer, testicular cancer, and this all happened around the same time. So, none of my family are really close to me dad. Like, he'd come over if he was getting letters, or like maybe the odd weekend he would have invited us over for dinner. We wouldn't be very close to him, you know.
So when he met this girl, did he just disconnect from you?
No, I wouldn't say that. It would have been like roughly the same. So when he bought a house in Newcastle with her, and he'd invite us over every Sunday for dinner, because that was what my granddad used to do with us. So I'm assuming he just tried to carry on the tradition. And look, it was only ever me and maybe my two sisters to go over. The other two kind of had their own shit going on, and I don't know, no one really has a close relationship with me dad. So I knew when all this happened, he had no one. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't really close to anyone else. So I went down to the house to him. I stayed with him for a few nights, and I helped him unpack the house, and because he got fuck all over. Like, I think the mortgage was out, could have been potentially only in her name. Maybe I'm wrong in saying that, but he got screwed. Like, he got screwed, and he was in a bad way. And it just took me going for a drink with him to make him feel a bit better. There was times where he was crying to me, which was mad. You know what I mean? But he's definitely a new man now, and I 100% forgive him. You know what I mean? I don't, like I said, everyone has their own demons. There's reasoning for something. I don't justify it. I'll never agree with what he done, but I forgive him. And
you said there about you couldn't wait to punch the head off him. Can you imagine how many sons in Ireland
I know
are in that situation?
I know, so many.
That just can't wait to punch the head.
And the thing is, there is some that would. Do you know what I mean? There is some that have, which is terrible. Like, at the end of the day, your dad's your dad. You know what I mean? And I don't think wherever your dad does, you should ever lay a finger on him, if I'm honest with you. I mean, unless he done something to me kids or something, that's a different ball game. But yeah, look, your dad's your dad, your ma's your ma. You only have one of them. Whether they do right or wrong, they brought you into the world. You should have at least respect for them. And like, everyone's story is different. People be listening to this saying, oh, you don't know my dad, but like I said, they brought you into the world. They deserve some form of respect, in my opinion, you know.
And then that going on, and it just take back to the incident that happened. Did your mum get involved? Did she, or was there too much fear on her side, or was there relief? Do you think? Have you ever had a conversation with her about it?
No, not really. Actually, no, I never actually did. That actually is making me consider having one now. Now, my ma's very hard to talk to. It's her way or the highway, you know. But no, I've never actually really talked to my ma about it. But my ma, so we would be very physical in my house. Like, all boys nearly. 2 girls, 3 boys. And me and my big brother would be very physical. And if I see him being physical, it's up to me. Because no one else is kind of on his level.
What do you mean physical?
As in, like, if him and my brother would have a physical fight, as in punching each other, not just an argument, like, do you know what I mean? So
when do you have this? When?
Look, throughout the years, you know,
right,
like, I'm not saying it's a frequent thing.
Yeah,
like,
I'm like,
probably,
did you just have it? Like,
no. So, like, let's say I'm kind of bringing it into the story with me ma. All these physical fights that happen throughout the years, and the hurt I would have had in certain fights, or like I said to you, when I was younger, I was an awful robber. I used to rob money out of my brother's wallet, and because I never felt like I got at it as a fucking kid, and I was like, no, fuck you, you won't even see it gone. I was a prick, and I got to a stage where I was getting blamed on shit that I wasn't doing then, and that's what really hurt. That killed me. And look, I brought it on myself, but as a kid you don't see that. So when you're constantly getting blamed on something you didn't do, it just drove me crazy. And that's what led me to getting physical with people in my family. When I'm saying, I'm telling you now, I didn't fucking take it. And then it nearly became a poxy thing for me, because then I was like, right, maybe if I'm physical they'll think I didn't take it. I used it to my advantage then. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm sure I've done that once or twice, and I got to the stage where I was punching walls and stuff. But like the last, let's say, I don't know, we haven't had a fucking physical fight in probably about 10 years or something. But I remember the last couple of times we did, or even if we get angry, my ma's very frightened of me in particular. I think she thinks I'm a loose cannon that, like, I don't know, like, I'd never obviously lay your finger on me ma. Never have, never will. But yeah, she's definitely afraid when I get like that, and that's not nice, you know what I mean? So I don't know if she sees
your dad.
Yeah, see, I look like me dad a bit. People say. Have you got
the build of your dad?
No, oh, geez, not anymore. No, me dad's tall and skinny. What do you reckon?
But you're tall.
Yeah,
big
no,
guy,
me dad is tall, and he never really had weight on him. But yeah, I'd be bigger than me dad. I'd be the biggest in the family now at the minute, the size I am, you know. So that obviously does play a part as well. And then I didn't realise I had a deep voice until I started the podcast, and the levels literally are down a lot more than the lads, you know. So like, even with my kids, I told you I'm against hitting kids, but I'm not against shouting against them, you know. I think your kids should have some form of fear, and if Kelly tells them to do something, they don't do it. If daddy shouts, they do it. Do you know what I mean? So I enjoy that side of it. But
so your mum, she when if the altercation would happen, like with your dad, and someone didn't get involved or did get involved, like,
not everyone got involved that day. I think my auntie and all was in the house that day where I threw him through the table, and everyone was pulling me, but it was like mongoose. Like, no one could go near me. I was just driven to hurt them. But then when I went to it, I just couldn't.
But the original one, so was that your ma's life? Was that frequent in your ma's life?
From my memory, yes. From my now, look, I mean, certain family members say like things like your ma brought it on yourself, but you know, that's another subject altogether that it isn't my place to get involved in. I don't know enough about that, so I can't comment on it. I can only comment about what I seen growing up and what I tried to do to prevent it, you know.
And so again, have you just sat down, like, even when you said the fear thing, that you know that she's
No, I never sat down. Yeah, I should. You're right, 100% I should. Yeah, see, it nearly comes to a stage where me ma, like I said, we're not really affectionate and that. Sometimes I joke with me ma and like hug her and all, just because I wouldn't get a normal hug off her.
Yeah.
I'd be pretending like I'm putting her in a headlock or something just to fucking get a hug off her, when really I genuinely am trying to hug her, but I know she's not into it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So things like that. But no, I actually will. It could. I was going to say, like, she'll only really have a conversation like that with drink on her, you know. And my ma wouldn't really drink that much, so God only knows when I can do. But if we try to have that conversation with her normal, she'll kind of go off topic, shut up about that or whatever, you know. So it's not as easy as you think.
No, I know. I actually do know how how hard it is to have these conversations with people. And the conversation that I have with you right now and have with my guests, like if I try to talk about it, they say, don't podcast me, Rebecca. Don't podcast, don't need to podcast. But I do have, and I will, like, there is sometimes I have to say, Mum, but why did this happen? You know what I mean? Or Dad, why did this happen? And you don't say, I was just a bollocks. I was a bollocks. You know what I mean? And like, he, as I said, the heart attack changed him completely. Like, you know, my mother gets her breakfast in bed every day now. Like, do you know what I mean? Where that didn't happen years ago, you know? So it is hard, but maybe a conversation is just to say, and especially the affection, because, do you know what, Jay? Like, we all fucking know now we don't have long in this life. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And if you are not starved, but you want that, and if you just kind of lay it out and say, Mum, look, give us a hug in the mornings. Give us a hug.
No, it wouldn't. I swear to God. I know what you're saying. It sounds easy, but no, like I said, she's just not like that at all. I wouldn't, even if I was crying saying it to her. Yeah. She's still, like, I actually remember coming back one Christmas after having 2 bottles of wine and crying to her, telling her I loved her and all. Obviously, she was hugging me back because I was crying. But even that was awkward for her. I could feel the awkwardness in the hug, you know. I don't know what it is. Like I said, deep down, she fucking means well and she does love me, and she, like, I respect the little things like, Jay, our dinner's ready. Do you know what I mean? Like, well, you didn't have to. So the affection is shown in other ways. Like, and she always stands up for me. Like, she hates certain people over certain things. And that to me is a way of showing me how much she loves me. But at the same time, that kind of affects more in the house than and if you know what I mean.
What does she think of the podcast?
She used to watch it, actually. She hasn't really watched the last few now, being honest. I think she's gone off a little bit. But she just throw it on now and again, It's mad, like, so I would have tried, like, so many different ventures. Like, I was vlogging when I was a kid. Well, when I say kid, I was about 18. Basically, the ex went on holidays and it was our first time away from the kids. And I said, look, I'll record it for you. But I always wanted to get into vlogging, but that was my start. Right, you're away. You're going to miss them this week. You've never been away from them. I'll record the whole week for you and you can view it on YouTube, you know. And I got into vlogging and people weren't really with that because they thought, and in fairness, I was doing it for the wrong reasons. I was in it to make money. There was no money to be made. Do you know what I mean? But I used to have camera in people's faces that didn't want it, and look, it was down the wrong road. So they kind of looked at it at the start like it was another one of these. But they can see it ground. They can see it ground legs. You know, even like we had the Christmas party, the Did You Hear Show Christmas party, and everyone was shocked. That was planned in 2 days. Like,
I was shocked myself. To be honest with you, I was like, fair play.
Like, everyone came. All of our previous guests came, and to me, that's a real testament to the podcast and how comfortable we made people feel, that they were all willing to come back and get in a room with everyone together. It was amazing. And like that, I think people can see, not only my family but people around me can genuinely see the podcast is helping me as a person. It's helping me grow. It's helping me understand how lucky I am. Like, we had 2 guests on, Keith and Pamela, and again, I say this every time I bring her up because I don't want to butcher the illness that she has, but she has an illness, and they were on my podcast, and I'm just thinking, Jay, you fucking ungrateful bastard. Like, you don't know how lucky you have it. Everyone has it worse than us, you know, man. There's always someone out there that has it worse than us, and the podcast is a constant reminder of that. I'm sure now that I'm saying it, you probably resonate with it. Like, when you hear some people's story, it's like, fuck me, I'm moaning about stupid shit. Who robbed me strawberry milk in the fridge, starting murdering the cat over it, and there's people fucking, like, that kid with an illness. Like, I couldn't imagine that, and they have to go through that every day, and we're moaning about stupid things. So it humbles me. The podcast humbles me, and it's just like, I don't go counselling anymore, I used to go counselling frequently, and that the podcast is my counselling. Do you know what I mean? It's mad. Like, even questions you're asking me, like, it's just a reminder. Do you know, like, I wouldn't have thought about talking to me ma for ages, and then you're at the bringing it up again. And the stuff like that moments we have with our guests that's like that, where we're giving them advice, and it's so powerful for them. And the fact that you're helping someone, it just, like, I'm sure you feel it, it's just, there's some unbelievable feeling that no one can match it. Do you know what I mean? It's undescribable. You doing something for someone. Actually, how the podcast started was a friend of mine was feeling suicidal, basically. And we had a 4-hour conversation on the phone. And he said, Jay, like, that conversation was unbelievable. You're after helping me so much. You have no idea. And I had spoke to a couple of friends briefly on starting a podcast. And then this guy was having issues with his ma. And I said, do me a favour. I said, first thing in the morning, go to Lidl, buy her ma a set of flowers and tell her you love her. I said, record it for me and send it to me, will you? And he says, yeah. Now look, when you have that conversation with someone, they're going to say yeah, and they probably won't do it. This fella, I knew he was a doer, and he went and do it. He went and done it, and the video was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. And he rang me and he said, honestly, Jay, you have no idea what you've done for me. And I'm like, I can do that for so many more people. And that was the initial thing for the podcast. And I'll be honest with you, the podcast went down a hole that I didn't want it to go down. I just started getting guests on because that's what everyone else was doing. I was like, oh, this is a podcast. Whereas now we had a conversation over the last few weeks where we're bringing it back to what it was supposed to be. So Did You Hear Name is supposed to cover like the latest topics that's going on, like Ashton Murphy, rest in peace, and all these hot topics, COVID, stuff like that. Did you hear this? Did you hear that? And then we kind of elaborate on it and then cover mental health as well. And we're getting back into that now, but that's where the podcast started off from that, you know. And like I said, it's like therapy for me. It's my counselling now. It's replaced that and it's free.
Absolutely. Come here, take it back to me, that because I just want to touch on a little bit where, Paul, would you put the heat on? Is Paul there? Probably not even there. I'm cold. Are you cold?
No, I'm alright.
And I don't know why all of a sudden every time I start doing a podcast I get cold. So I want to just take it back to your partner, right? So how long were you together, and kids? When did the kids come into it?
Yeah, so we were together. What I think it's 13 years. I thought it was 15, but I think it's around 13, and that's kind of on and off. Now, when I say on and off, I think the longest we broke up was 9 months or something like that. So the first night we met, she wasn't really sure whether she was into me, and then she went home and went on Bebo and seen a picture of me, and she was like, oh, he's lovely. No, just nice in pictures.
Bebo.
Yeah. And we went on a second date, and actually our second date we had our first fight. I'm like, oh, here we go. The best thing, what I'm actually better off doing, right? So the first girlfriend I had cheated on me, right? Then my second relationship, I kind of brought that into. I was like, I'm not fucking allowing that to happen again. And I treated her like shit. And she was a lovely girl. She actually done everything for me. I screwed her over. I was a horrible fucker to her, and she didn't deserve it at all. And then I met Kelly, and I said to Kelly, right, Kelly's the fresh start. Kelly's an open book now. So I wanted to not be so obsessive and like, oh, where's she going? Who's she with? I just let her be free, but turned out that wasn't really the best thing to do in this relationship. You know, this was her first relationship as well. Right. So we went through shit where she'll say she didn't cheat on me, but she definitely did twice. So that led us to go couples counselling and stuff like that. But after the kids came, then we had Tyler. I was 21. She was pregnant at my 21st. And when the kids came along, Tyler was actually grand. Like, we got on well for Tyler towards the start, and then we had to obviously move in together. So moving in and having the kids, we just clashed heads. We didn't get along. So she was like, Jay, this isn't working. You need to go back to your ma's. So I moved back to my ma's. I think we broke up for about a year. No, about 9 months, sorry. So every time we broke up, I was never with anyone else. Okay. Ever. But she was. Right. And I should have seen signs. Now I'm saying, like, maybe she wasn't in. But at the same time, then I'm saying, like, I was her first relationship. She didn't really get to be single. Do you know what I mean? So I kind of... But one of the days, I think I went down to collect Tyler, and she asked me in, and we got on, and then she got pregnant again. So to me, it was like a sign. Every time we broke up, something brought us back together.
Yeah.
Like, we weren't together when she found out she was pregnant with Tyler.
Right.
And we got back together. And then we broke up on Tyler. She got pregnant with Amelia. I was like, this is just, like, something's keep on. And I never loved anyone the way I loved Kelly. Ever. So
the last time you broke up, right?
Yeah.
In that time, are you telling the kids you broke up or... Like, because I just want to get into that a little bit.
Yeah. Did we tell the kids... I don't think we actually sat them down and said, Mammy and Daddy are breaking up. I think we just... I don't really remember. I'm sure we would have said, like, Daddy's moving back to Mammy's, as in my Mammy's house, because me and Mammy are fighting too much. We don't want to be fighting. Something like that. And then it just kind of stayed that way. And
then, so then you broke up, and then the incident then that you seen him come out of the house now. So then you knew that it was over. That was final, yeah. So then, how does the co-parenting work? Right, so this is where the story gets a bit mental. Again, I'm gonna sound like a psycho. People think I am, but I don't. As much as I regret doing it, I know I'd do it again. So obviously, I told you, thoughts were going through my head that maybe this had been going on longer. So I was really curious then. My son rang me one night going down to I was going down to the studio to do the podcast with Stolen City, the band, and he rang me crying on the phone saying Amelia deleted something on his PlayStation or something, and I was like, tell Amelia I want her. And Amelia came into the room and she was like, oh, hang up the phone, you're not allowed on the phone to Danny, hang up. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? So I rang them back. I was like, well, what's going on? Oh, Mammy said we're not allowed to ring you, she's gone out again. And I was like, who the hell is minding this? And he said, our Auntie Brooke. I think Brooke is what, 13, 14 maybe? No, wait, 14, 15 maybe. And she never ever we never let anyone mind the kids other than her mother. Right. So the fact that this was happening, I wasn't happy at all. I was like, is there in the kids alone with Brooke? I said, that's not fucking on. I said, did your mammy go out in her car? And they said, yeah. So I flew down to the apartment to see the car was there. So what did I automatically think? It would make sense, right? It would make sense for... and I genuinely would have been more understanding, because she's only across the road. Does it make you like a madman? Yes. When that shit is going on? Yes, madman. And look, it's easy. People will probably listen to this and say, he's a psychopath. Put yourself in my shoes. Put yourself in my shoes. Your kids are ringing you, and that little cousin is minding them, who was never allowed to mind them before. You were never, like, I used to try to get out on dates and stuff. Now there's no one to mind them, but now she's like we lay in bed before Rebecca, 6 months, nothing happened, nothing sexual, and I put it. Do to you? Oh, it kills me. Like, you feel like a scumbag, because you're trying all the time and you're getting shut down. And I put on weight at the time as well, so I felt fucking shy. And then, like, the times where we would do it, it was like, oh, let's just do it, get it over with. But then it felt like fucking rape. It's like, you don't even want to do it. But I took it because I didn't get it any other time and I needed it released, you know what I mean? But it got to the stage where I stopped accepting it then. I was like, no, I'm not fucking doing it like that. Do you know what I mean? So that was horrible. Like, the relationship was rocky for a while, but then when I see, oh, she's putting this force now, like, do you know what I mean? That hurts as well. So that made me even angrier, as you can imagine. She never done it with me, and now she's fucking, do you know what I mean? So when I drove down to the apartment, the car was there. So like I said, one thought entered my head. She's over there. So I went over and knocked on the door. And these two guys answered, and I was like, the guy that she was seeing now was a black guy. Right. And I didn't know his name, so that's how I described him. Now, I don't know if that's racist, like, do you say African American? He was black, and I asked for the black guy. That's the only description I had of him. I didn't know his name. I didn't know anything about him. So I said, look, can you ask that black guy to come down to me, please? And he said, hold on, we'll get him now. His name was... Oh, no, I won't say it, actually. Don't. So, 2 minutes later, he come back down and he's like, sorry, he's not in. And I said, look, I know he's in. I said, will you just get him for me? And he said, look, he's not in.
And I said, he is in. I said, now get him for me. I was fuming at this stage. So he goes, okay, give me 2 more minutes. So when he said, give me 2 more minutes, I knew they were fucking up there. At least that's what I thought. So Jay kicks in the door. He was only renting a room. Walked up, kicked in the wrong room. There was a woman in bed, frightened the life out of her. And I kicked in his room and there was no one there. But long and behold, he was a DJ. I was a DJ years ago. She made me give it up because I was coming home at 4 in the morning and she thought I was up to no good. Do you know what I mean? So we had to give that up, and now here she is fucking seeing another one, you know. So that was another kick in the bollocks.
Do you still hold her for that? You still anger?
No. Honestly, no. The thing is, Rebecca, I look at her now and it's like, she didn't love me.
No. So
why should she stay with me? Do you know what I mean? As much as it hurts me, if I didn't love her, would I stay with her? Like, if now, in fairness, there was a stage where I didn't than I did for the kids, and that's down to my dad leaving when I was a kid. My dad left when I was 8 or something, and I never wanted a broken family, right? And just to kind of break off the story, we'll go back to that one. So something I drill into my kids, like if my Toyle and Amelia were here beside me, you ask them what's the most important thing in life, right? The first thing they'll say is family. And then the second thing they'll say is never give up. So I thought I was a bit of a coward for even allowing it to get to here. I'm like, they're going to think I gave up on them. And I always felt like if, like, even the 6 months with sex, like, the lads were saying to me, Jay, go out and get a bleeding prostitute. Go out and fucking see someone who's into you. Like, fuck, 6 months.
Do lads say that?
Yeah. Well, sometimes, yeah. Like, if you're going that long, like, it's a long time, but it's not my place to say why she wasn't doing them things, but there was side effects involved and shit, so I accepted it a bit more. But the more I think of it, I shouldn't have accepted it, in my opinion. You
should have just said, look, do you love me, do you not? We need to... But very easy for me and you, in hindsight, to say that. Yeah. It's very different when you're in it. But here, the way I see it, I'm going to come across a bit vulgar now, right? I hope your husband doesn't mind me talking this way, right? But if you're not willing to have sex with your partner, you have a mouth. Do you know what I mean? You have a hand. There's other things that can be done. You can be sexual in other ways. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's face facts here. No, I actually don't even know how to answer you after you saying that. Right, why? Well, obviously... No, I haven't. Like, so this is obviously a touchy subject. No, absolutely not. Because, like, no. But if there's, so you're saying to me that if she's not in love with you or she doesn't find you sexually attractive, right? But you're in a relationship, she should still have sex with you or have other ways of having sex with you. Or else tell me no. You don't, like, don't lie. Like, don't get me wrong. No, sorry. Now I sound like an arsehole. She says she doesn't want to have sex. Right, Kelly, how long is this going to go on for? I'm just not in the humour tonight, Jay. We'll do it tomorrow. Like, there was times where she'd say, let's do it. Or a perfect example that fucking killed me, and I did let it go, right? We were out one night. I was at the bar. She'd walk by, give me a little sly feel or whatever, slap me in the arse, text me saying, can't wait to get you home or whatever. I go home, she falls asleep. After not. That happens though, Jay. It does happen, but if you're not getting it for like 6 months and that happens, it's like, right, fuck me, you had me all built up here. I'm like a bleeding, I'm ripped to bits in my head, ready to rock and roll, and then you're shut down again. And then the next morning you're like, right, maybe she'll feel bad for not doing it, something will happen now, and it still doesn't happen. Like, as a man, well, I'm sure as a woman as well, imagine, just, this is what I keep on saying, Rebecca, how would you feel for 6 months, right? Let's say a month. How would you feel if you were trying to have sex with Paul and he kept on throwing you down? How would that make you feel? What would you do? I get it. Yeah, I get it. It wouldn't happen for me because I'd try once and I wouldn't try again. That's because that's the way I am. Like, do you know what I mean? But and I do get it. Yeah. But I just think that she should have spoke to you. Yes, she should have spoke to you about it. I wouldn't have, like, if she said to me, "Look, I am not attracted to you. Just I don't want to have sex." Yeah. That and this is actually what happened after this whole scenario with this guy across the road.
I was so upset. I wanted to know why. Where did it all go wrong? So I came down to her one day after all this happened, and I said, Kelly, look, just talk to me. Tell me what happened so we can improve myself. Tell me what I done wrong.
But you didn't do anything wrong.
Well, it turns out we did.
Right.
Turns out we did. So she said that she was starting to look at other men when we were together. She said she wasn't finding me attractive anymore, that I put in a bit away. Now, I asked her, and she agreed, and I was like, why didn't you tell me that? Had you told me that, do you not think I would have done something about it? Do you know? And I would have. But
at the same time, I think that even if you had lost a bit of weight,
yeah, I agree.
She wouldn't. She wouldn't. Like that's the thing. Like when you fall out of love, or you were no longer sexually attracted to someone, it's time to end that shit. Yeah. End it. Yeah. Get out of there. I know that now.
I know that now, and this is what, like, I have such high standards now that, like, this is 2 years not with her now, and I'm only now seeing someone. Do you know what I mean? Which is crazy.
Did you respect her?
Yeah. Like, yeah. Fuck, I'm thinking now, actually, did I? Yeah, no, of course I did. I was thinking, like, is that showing a lack of respect by going on like that? But, like, 2 weeks going on like that, fair enough. But, like, I think if you ask any man if he went 3 months without what would he do? Give me a scenario. What would another man do? He look, I don't think he's hanging around personally, and unless there's like a big backstory to it, or I don't know. I did.
But there is some relationships out there where things are stale. I've had it with my girlfriends, and things are stale. Things are not great, and I'm just going through the motions. But when you use the word rape, I do kind of get that you feel that. Yeah, I
feel disgusting.
Yeah, you feel disgusting. Like, do you know what I mean? You feel disgusting that, like, you know, and I'm sure there's women out there that probably feel like when they do it with their husbands, and their husbands are not interested, because this is not just men, it can be women as well.
Yeah.
And the women are like, well, I'm prostituting myself to you, and you're not having a bar with me. Do you get me?
Yeah, I get you, but I don't like. Well, maybe you're right. Girls,
this is the first podcast that I don't even, like, literally. You have to send me in a different.
Oh, this happens all the time. Even on our show, we always bring it there. But it's part of my story, and it's a big part of, I think, why things went sour for us. You know, and why we broke up, and why all the fights happened, and like it was definitely a big part. But you have to see it from my point of view as well. That now, if you're hearing or seeing that it's happening with other people now, it's like, well, where the fuck did I go wrong? So there was clearly an issue early on in the relationship. So, like, I'm embarrassed talking about this, by the way, but the reason I'm talking about it is because other lads who are in my position now, they'll know, right, I'm not taking this anymore, I need to talk to her, and she needs to put it on the table, because I don't want someone being in my situation. It's horrible. And it will, like you said, it'll speak to women as well that are going through the same shit. But do you know the
amount of women as well that are out there and are in relationships with men for 15 years, they never get a ring, never get commitment, boom, 6 months later, 8 months later, a year later, they're engaged to someone else and married with kids in the way.
Yeah, I know. To me, that's like, see, I understand that, right? And let me tell you why. Because I know now what I want out of a relationship. So the next person that I'm with, I lay it all out straight away. You want it, you don't. You do, right, let's see how it goes. You don't, I'm done wasting time here, because I know what I want. I'm 32 now. I feel like I'm pushing on. I need to find that person. Do you know what I mean? I enjoy company. I hate being, like, I'm very lonely. I'll be honest, I'm very lonely. I have the kids the weekend. Otherwise, I'm on my own 24/7 other than the podcast. Like, I am a very lonely person. I want someone to share memories with. I want someone to go on a walk with, go to pictures with, you know? And I know what I want. I know this is what I expect.
You're lonely now. Were you lonely in that relationship?
Yes.
Same. Like, and I'm in the sense that, like, I say, this is life. This is life. This is what happens. But this is where you have now hindsight that where you were then and where you are now, it's still lonely. It's still fucking lonely. That's
true, but you know, like, there's definitely someone out there that will change that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? There's, like, now in hindsight, we shouldn't have been together. Do you know what I mean? There was so long where she wasn't happy, and I feel sorry for her a little bit. And it annoys me to even say that from what she put me through, but I do feel sorry for her. Like, why?
That's life.
Yeah, it is life. It is life. And look, it took me a while to get over it. It took me a while to see it from her side. I was just like, to me, it was all about the family. Like, it breaks me heart that the kids don't get what they want. They love mommy and daddy together. And I loved us being a family together. Nothing will ever compare to that, ever. Like, sorry to anyone that I get with later. Like, that is what I wanted. I will always love Kelly. Always. I'll never.
Why?
Because she's the mother of my kids.
So you won't always love her, right?
No, I will.
No, you'll have love for her.
Okay.
Be careful with that.
Okay.
Be careful with that. No, and I'm not preaching to you, but
no, it makes
do you know
sense.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I am brutal when it comes to wording and shit.
So
like,
you'll always have love for her.
Yeah.
For who she is. You won't always love her because you don't want to take that into a new relationship. Do you know what I mean?
Well, see, when you say that, I'm nearly going back to it again. No, we will. Like, I'll always care for her. I'd never want to see her upset. I would never. But maybe it is the right word. I don't know. But look, the way I see it is, she'll always have me respect. She's the mother of my kids. No matter what she done, she's still the mother of my kids. Do you know what I mean? She's an amazing mother. That's something I'll never take away from her. Do you know what I mean? I'd never talk bad about the girl because, let's face it, I'm talking bad about my kid's mother. Do you know what I mean? I
know.
So,
what if you go on to have another family? Do you think that'll happen for you?
You know what, Rebecca? I love kids so fucking much. I'm just a big kid myself. I get on with, like, if there's a party, I'm with the kids. Do you know what I mean? I love the kids, but I don't think I could do it to my own.
They might enjoy it too.
See, the way I look at it is, right, how would I feel? So, I obviously didn't feel loved as a kid. My kids definitely feel love. But I don't know if, let's say, I was to meet a new girl and have a kid with her. Why is daddy living with her? Why is daddy giving that baby all the attention? Why can't we have daddy living with us? Now, they're at a stage where they wouldn't ask them questions. They'd be older. But I never wanted to be that guy. And I'm not judging anyone out there that does that. But I never wanted to be that guy. Like, I would have had, honest to God, another 5 kids with Kelly. In a heartbeat. Like that was part of the blackness that, like, I thought this was going this way, and now everything, I don't know where I am. What do we do from here? You know, but now it's like I'm just focusing on me at the minute. Do you know what I mean? I'm just getting my own shit together, making sure I never get to that place again. And being honest, I don't think I ever will, because the way I look at it, Rebecca, that was the worst thing that could have happened to me. Do you know Rebecca Garvey?
No.
I'm sure you would have seen stuff on it. I think you. Oh no, sorry, is it Rebecca? Rachel Garvey. Yes. Rachel Garvey. This is terrible, but I used to say I'm jealous of her.
Why?
Because her partner passed away, whereas like, this was when I was in a very bad place. I was like, I have to watch the girl I love someone else. I was like, it's gonna, even as much as I say I'm over it, I know when I finally do see her with someone else and someone's living with my kids, I know that's gonna break me again. It's gonna be hard again. But the thing is that I'm after getting over the hardest part, that nothing can get in my way now. Like, the only thing that could ever drive me to even having them thoughts is one of my kids passing. Anything else, nothing can. I feel unbreakable. If I can get through that, I can get through what. Do you know what I mean? You
have to, right now, and continue, and I know you're on the path and the podcast, you just have to get strong. Yeah. You just have to get strong. You've been dealt a lot of shit over the years and probably put yourself into a lot of shit over the years. Just get yourself strong, and, you know. Yeah, and I feel like I am doing that, and this is what I'm saying, the podcast is really helping me. And doing shit like this and doing shit like the RTE show, like, I was even thinking when I was on RTE, I don't want to hurt Kelly. I don't want her to think that I'm just doing this to her. I don't want her seeing me on telly with someone else and getting her. But she doesn't give a shit. No. Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking like that. You need to disassociate her with your kids. Your kids are your kids. Yeah. And that's your kids' ma. I need to separate from everybody, not just her. Yeah. Everybody. I need to stop thinking about what they going to feel. What are they going to feel? Just focus on yourself. And that's the stage I'm at now. And I feel like I am at my strongest point now in every sense of the word. You know, like, the only part I'm lacking on now is my fitness, you know. But once that gets into place, I'm fucking flying. We'll get to. But tell me about the podcast. who runs it, and we know why you set it up.
Yeah.
Tell me about.
So basically, like I said, I set it up for that reason, and it started out on my own, and it just, again, lonely. I didn't want to do it alone. I wanted to bring someone up with me. So a friend of mine who supported it but was shy, didn't really want to do it, he ended up giving me a dig out. Dean, he was the first fella. And if Dean couldn't really commit because he had 2 kids, and look, anyone with kids is hard to commit, as you know yourself. Schedules can go all over the place. It's hard to lock down something, especially if you're not getting paid for it. So we brought his friend in, Gav, and we done a few episodes with him. And then I got to a stage where I was expecting probably too much from the lads. I was getting frustrated. I had, obviously my passion is here. Their passion is triggling around here. So when I'm doing all the work, I'm like, fuck you, why the fuck am I doing it all? Like, you are gaining as much as if from my, when really they weren't. I was gaining more than here, you know, pointing at my cheek. So yeah, things got, like, I think Gav, who was on the show, thinks that I had something against them or something. I didn't. Like, it just, our banter levels were different, and I felt like I said to you, we do an Evernote and all of, I guess we do a homework, and there was a time where he texted and said, Jay, this isn't loading in, and he sent me a screen recording. Now all he did was he done a particular thing that made the screen not load into the Evernote. Right. I'm a big tech head, so little did he know that I knew exactly what he was doing. He just didn't want to update the Evernote. Right. But for me, that was the last straw. I was like, you fucking lying bastard, this is this, you're a lawyer and all. And I got frustrated, and things kind of went sour from there. And then we made the transition. So Joe Doyle is a friend of mine who I've done a bit of work for, and he listened to 1 or 2 episodes and said, Jay, I fucking love what you're doing. I can see it taking off. I have a studio down there. If you want to go down, you can do whatever you want to it. So I was like, really? He was like, yeah. So we made an agreement that, look, I'll let him use my equipment, and he'll let me use the studio, and look, fees will be involved if it gets to this stage or whatever. And we went down, and he hasn't charged me since. So I'm extremely grateful for Joe. Joe has helped me when I was struggling looking for work and stuff. He's a great friend of mine. So we've been down in the studio now. I've invested probably the guts of 13 grand into the studio. But like, people say, oh, you should be making money. I haven't made a cent from that podcast. Not a cent. And it doesn't bother me. I couldn't care if I make nothing. Now, the only thing that bothers me is I know the lads want to make money from it. So that's the side.
Who are the lads?
The lads is Jay. So Jay got involved. Jay is from my local area, and I walked into Super Value, and he came over to me and said, Jay, I love your podcast. I was like, thanks very much. I actually heard you done one. He done an MMA podcast before. Right. He was involved in one at least, and I was actually very successful. And he was asking me for tips, saying that he wanted to set up his own, and I said, look, come down to the gaff. Like I said, I love fucking helping people. Come down to the gaff. We'll fucking tell you and show you everything you need. And he was talking, and he was so passionate about it. And I was like, you're the guy. And I said to him, look, Jay, I'm looking to do like a sports segment on the show. I said, I think you'd be great to be head of it. Would you be interested? And he said, yeah. So, right, you're on board. Brought him down. We done a couple of episodes. I didn't go into sport at all. He just ended up being my co-host. But then I got to the stage where we got cameras, and we got basically the switcher that you have there, the camera switcher. You need someone. Your husband actually only informed me that it can be changed by voice. I didn't know that at the time. So we got Martin, who watched the podcast, Martin Money, who's now the engineer. He got involved, and he's just fucking unbelievable. I love his little one-liners. Everyone always says that, you know, the engineer shouldn't speak. Why not? Do you know what I mean? Now, it is hard because
I don't allow Paul to speak.
I want to say something, Paul. I'm going to have you and him on my podcast. How about that? The two of you. Yeah, so everyone obviously didn't expect Martin to speak, but I think Martin is so intelligent, and he's so quick with the one-liners that I needed him to speak. And I always wanted the engineer to speak. Like Jamie and Joe Rogan says the odd thing or two, but I just think that an extra perspective on things is good. And yeah, he's been a great addition, and don't get me wrong, people think we're doing shit because of Instagram numbers, but that doesn't bother me. Like, it's the conversations, like the people, like we get messages all the time saying your podcast is helping me and I'm after learning from this, and people have gotten sponsorships from it. People have been helping out charities from our show. Oh, I got you from the Did You Hear show. Dangs is one of our sponsors. He's saying that everyone's asking for the Did You Hear show rap, which is actually unbelievable. Mirsa was another sponsor we got, and like they're just sponsoring us with their products, you know what I mean? We're not looking for money because we know they're only small brands and we're just happy to support other Irish companies up and coming, you know. But eventually, hopefully one day we'll start making a few bob from it, and that'll just make it so much easier. I'd love to do more shows and do more content, but unfortunately with jobs, family, the kids, families and jobs, it doesn't allow for it, you know. But I love it.
You'll get there. Can I ask you a question?
You can ask me loads more.
Do you think you're hard to love?
No, I don't think so. No one asked me that before. I never even thought of that before. Hard to love? No, I don't think so. Like, I am very emotional. I'm very affectionate. I wear my heart on my sleeve. I lay it all out on the table. So no, I wouldn't say so. So
will you, in your relationships, even with Kelly, Jesus, and you know, we're talking about Kelly, and I hope you let Kelly know that we talk about her in this podcast.
I'm not saying nothing. I started out with my ex-partner and then Kelly just came out natural. Look, everyone knows anyway.
Right. So, like, would you be affectionate? Would you be affectionate in these situations?
What do you mean?
In relationships.
Would I be affectionate? Yeah, I would be, yeah. I'm not going to lie, there's something about being affectionate in public that kind of triggers me a little bit. I'm more affectionate behind closed doors. I don't know what that is. It's always been the case. And I'm seeing someone now kind of sort of, and I let them know that. And they were cool with it, but I was a bit shocked that they were cool with it. I was like, does that not come across that, like, I just don't want to be seen with you because I'm still single, do you know what I mean? But I don't know, it's weird, isn't it? I don't know what it is though. I don't know. I was even the same with Kelly. Like, I wasn't into like holding hands or kissing in public or that. I don't know why. But behind closed doors, yeah.
Are you a good partner?
I can be hard. I can be hard. Now, I always thought that I never ever started a fight with Kelly. I only ever reacted. Now, that probably is the case. However, I know a lot of it stemmed from shit I done or didn't do. Do you know what I mean? Like, housework was a big thing. Like, something we used to always argue over. So, let's say, for example, I'd be working from home, right? I done websites and stuff. She'd go to work. I'd pick up the kids, come back. Right, Jay, all I need you to do today is put the clothes on the horse and have the dishwasher empty. Right, no bother. She'd pull up in the car. Bollocks! I'd rush. I'd do it. She'd see me putting the last plate in. Did you only do that now? Yeah, you were here all day. Why didn't you do it? What does it matter? It's done now. That was always my argument. So, in the sense that when you're a good partner, they just... No, they cause murder. I get it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Myself and Paul are married. It causes murder. Paul asks me what do I do all day, and I'm like, do you, on your lunch break, go and clean your canteen? Do you do that? Do you go on your lunch break, go downstairs and clean the canteen for everybody? I was like, because that's what I am. And he's like, the breakfast bowls are still there. I was like, yeah, I know. I haven't had a second. So I get that's a small amount. But in the sense, are you a good partner that you will provide the affection, provide for the person? You're a good communicator. You're a good, you know what I mean? Are you a good bloke? I'll be honest. Towards the end of the relationship, no, I wasn't. So, like I said, I can't really say it's not my place, but she was involved in something, let's say, that she was passionate about, and I'll be honest, I went one in one ear and out the other, which I know when I'm passionate about, you want someone to kind of be passionate about. But I think we just drifted apart at that stage. Like, at the start of the relationship, like, I was a black belt boyfriend. Like, I was doing the whole rose petals. I was bringing her out on dates all the time. I used to do like a CD for her every week with love songs that reminded me of her. I was very romantic. Do you know what I mean? So, what have you learned? What have you learned about yourself? A lot. I learned that I need... So, the thing I hate about myself is I react so much. I need to stop reacting and think longer. Like a lot, like I ended up in court over all this shit. You know what I mean? I ended up with a protection order. Do you know what I mean? It got messy, and I am not that guy.
And you know what? If Kelly was sitting here and telling me this, I'd be like, he's a prick.
I know, and I'd agree.
Tell him to get the fuck away from him.
I agree, and I was a prick. But I was a hurt prick. I wasn't doing it to be a prick. I was doing it because I was hurt.
Because of what she did?
Yeah. Okay. It was like...
So you only got this after the fact?
Yeah, like I'm not the type of guy that fucking breaks into someone's gaff. That's not me. Do you know what I mean? I'm the guy who fucking helps get that guy out of the gaff. But love just makes you do crazy things. Do you know what I mean? I am not a scumbag. I'm very affectionate. I'm very emotional.
I'll say I'll never, ever think that way. You threw me with the hand and the mouth thing. I'll be honest with you, and I'll tell you should be regretting saying that now on thing, because like...
I don't.
Because like... I'm like, you're a lovely lad, and then that comes out of your mouth, like, I have to say. That's just...
Oh, no, it gets much worse than that.
But is that real talk? Like, are you real, or is that joking? Come on.
Do you know, it's joking. Yeah. It's joking. It's just my sense of humour. I have a very dark sense of humour. Yeah. I get in trouble for it a lot. You know, I just say it, and people say, Jay, shouldn't have said that. Oh, but fuck it. It's a joke. Like... That's something I have to get better at as well. I have to get better at reading people, because certain people I thought had my banter, and I'd say something and they're like, no, I'm like, fuck, I shouldn't have said that, because now I look like a fucking idiot.
Like, read the room.
Exactly. Now I do think I'm okay at that. Like, did you take offence to what I said with that?
I honestly have to tell you, I take offence to nothing.
Yeah,
I take offence to nothing.
So I read the room well and saying that you were just a bit taken back.
No, you read it like I'm a lady, and you shouldn't say that in front of a lady, Jay. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But no, like
that's kind of my personality. Like I try and make everything funny. Do you know what I mean? And
you're funny. It's not everybody's funny.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
We need to clarify and let people, the women, my podcast listeners know that do go over and support your podcast, because you're actually a lovely fella, and the shit that you said is just jokes.
It's just jokes, yeah. I'm trying to tone it down. We did actually get a few messages saying about the way I was speaking on. I have got a lot better, because I used to curse a lot, and now I'm like, because I used to use them as filler words, but the more comfortable I get doing podcast, the more easy it is for me to talk, you know.
Because there is things that, and especially in this day and age, well, not this day and week, the derogatory comments that are made about women are like,
I know what you're saying.
Do you know? I'm not going to say it because the week that's in it's not the right week. But this is not going to go out this week. But it doesn't matter when it's right. But the derogatory comments that are said about women, unfortunately, are not unfortunate. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
It's not.
I do. I know exactly what you're saying. But see, the thing with me personally, and this is why you need to read the person as well, because it's dangerous for me. Like, I'd say, I think it's the complete opposite for me. Like, me saying shit like that to you was me showing you respect. Why should I talk to you different to how I speak to the lads? Like, to me, that's sexist. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I do it. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I do try and read the people as best I can. And most of the time I get it right, but the other time I can get it wrong, you know? But look, that's just my personality, you know what I mean?
My humour's got me into trouble.
I'll tell you.
It just better, because I'm going to try out my house squad.
No, this was something that made me feel terrible.
Right.
And this is kind of going off topic. I actually said it on my own podcast, but there was at the Christmas party, there was two women. So Fabu D shows up on a bleeding electric scooter, right? And he was waiting on the lift to go down. And there was two women coming up the lift. And I said, look at these two lazy bitches fucking getting the lift up. They could, like, there was 3 flights of stairs or something. And the woman walked out of the lift. Lazy fucking bitch, are we? And her ma walks out with a limp. I'm like, bollocks.
Yeah.
Now, I apologised and I felt absolutely terrible for that.
Do you think you were being funny?
Yeah, I think I was trying to show off
in front of
Fabu. Yeah, like, he's a comedian. I'm kind of like, these two lazy bitches. And in fairness, it wasn't funny. Do you know what I mean? Even I probably would have thought that in my head jokingly as well. Do you know what I mean? But I just said it out loud, and our daughter was so upset.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh fuck, I'm so sorry. I said I don't know why like that thought didn't enter my head for 1 second that there could be something wrong. I just thought lazy bastards. Do you know what I mean?
How do you process that?
So what I done was I felt, like I said, like absolute dirt. They were in the toilet for about half an hour. I stayed waiting outside and I laid it all out. I said, I'm so sorry.
But there it is.
What?
That's you.
Yeah, no, it is.
Like, that's you. And that's what I want people to know, because I don't want to take that comment. I want people to know that that's you. Like, you were heart sorry that you said that. And you didn't. And I say this all the time because the different people that I've had on my podcast, and I've said it, and like, again, I'm going to correct you because that's my job. You said African American, we don't say that. You know, you say black, and that's that. You know what I mean?
Right. So I was right to say black the first time.
Yeah, black is fine to say, but you don't say black African American. Do you know what I mean? So, and this is what we do. But again, I've said things in the past that have sat with me for so long. And again, it's stuff like that. Like, I'd never even correct something like that, but you just, like, we're responsible. Sometimes, and sometimes we're not.
No, I do the same. I do the very same, yeah.
But it's mad that you, and I know you probably sat with that for about a week. That probably sat in your head.
I said it 2 weeks later on the podcast.
That's what I'm saying.
Because I didn't feel like her daughter hugged me at the end of it, and she was like, I really appreciate it. Because I was talking to them for about 15 minutes. And the ma was like, don't mind it. I know you didn't mean it. And ma was sound where ma was apologising for her daughter. And I was like, no, don't be. She's right.
Yeah.
I should have. Like,
and it's still sitting with you.
Yeah, no, it is. It is, because I felt terrible for it. And like that, but like it's a quick thing that I'm at the learning something from that. Don't just automatically think they're being lazy. Do you know what I mean? Like,
but it's just what we do.
It's a little life lesson in a small thing, but that's what, like, you're asking me what have I learned. Like, that's nothing to do with the relationship side, but I've learned so much, and I've learned to respect myself. That's the main thing I got from it. Not to let people bring me down. Like, while in the relationship, I was called fat. You know, I was called names and things were done. Now, I wasn't an angel as well. I'd always respond with horrible comments.
That's very hard.
What?
When someone does that to you, when someone called you fat. That's very hard.
But you know what, Rebecca? I'm delighted I got to this size. You know why? Because I was that prick that called people fat as a joke. Yeah. Like, let's say one of my friends' names is Jimmy. Shut up, Jimmy, you fat cunt, messing with him. But I know that even if he's hurt a little bit, do you know what I mean? And I'm glad that I was a skinny fucker back in the day, and then I was kind of in the middle, and now I'm a bit bigger. So I am delighted that I've got to here now, because now I fully understand it's not fucking nice. Do you know what I mean? And I would have never understood that, because you're fat, will you get over it? It's a joke. Whereas now I know it hits. Do you know what I mean? So it's mad. Like I said, life is all about experience, and without the experience you don't know. That's why you can never truly judge someone. Like, a perfect example, people are gonna fucking hate me for even saying this, but Logan Paul,
I don't know.
Right, so he's a big YouTuber over in America, right?
I see you and Paul had a conversation,
Yeah, so he's a big YouTuber. He fucking has his own podcast and all, but he actually went over to Japan, and he went to what's called a suicide forest, where people actually go to kill themselves, and he filmed the dead body.
Yes, that's how I remember. Yeah, that's how I know him.
Right?
Yeah.
He is still judged by that mistake. He was a kid when he done that. He was a kid. Now, don't get me wrong, it doesn't justify it. Like, he still didn't have the fucking cop on to not do that. But
someone did. Someone in charge of him.
Yes.
Someone in charge of him allowed him to do that.
I agree with that. But that's not his fault, is what I'm saying. And he's still judged by that today. I don't think that's fair. Do you know what I mean? I don't think, like...
That's a very big fucking thing, though.
I know it is. But look, I think, like, if something happened 10 years ago, people can change immensely.
They can, and they absolutely can, and people deserve, like,
a second chance.
And
everyone deserves a second chance.
And this, I'm saying, there was people obviously in his life that weren't leading him down the garden path to allow him to do that kind of thing. That's how I do. I think, do you know what? I actually think my child told me that. I think Amelia told me that about him. Because she said it to me one day, and I was like, what? And again, I'm like, this is me, 11-year-old, talking about that. But it was Amelia who said it to me. But like, we got like the whole thing. I'm not going to get into it because no point. But like Molly May and stuff like that. Like Molly May, 100%, she's young, she said it, and that's just the way it is.
Exactly.
But that suicide thing is so wrong. But again, he was probably let down. He was probably told, this is a good idea, go and do it. And he did it.
But what I'm trying to get out of it is that everyone makes a mistake. Like, someone could say something and instantly regret it, but yet they're judged for years for saying, like, Molly May, I'm sure she regretted that comment straight away. But, like, get over it. She made a mistake. Like, who doesn't?
I know everyone does.
Exactly.
Yeah, people do make mistakes.
Everyone deserves a second chance. Everyone deserves to be forgiven.
So do you deserve a second chance to come on again and have a conversation with me in 6 months' time and update me and let me know where you are in your life?
I deserve you and your husband to come onto my podcast. That's what I deserve. I'll get it to happen eventually, don't worry.
I'm telling you about.
You will. You will. I guarantee you will.
You make it 100%.
You'll get more comfortable. You will have an experience on this podcast that changes your outlook. And you'll be like, oh, maybe it is a good idea to go on the Did You Hear show. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, for the lols maybe, but other than that, nothing else.
I'll keep it PG, I promise.
Absolutely not. Anyway, so listen, thank you so much for coming to the house. Again, I didn't know you were all the way from Clondalkin.
It was only 10 minutes, 15 minutes on the M50.
I don't even know where that is. That's how bad I am.
It's beside Liff Valley.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I do actually know where Clondalkin is. But come here, thanks so much for sitting down with me. As I said, it's my first crossover, and it's a while. I'm actually asking you. I think we're asking each other a while, and we're in the DMs a while now.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of glad that we sat down. You're the first recording of season 4. We don't know where we will see one. Actually, this time we're going to record quite a few.
Right.
And then put them out just for time wise. Do you know what I mean? I'll probably get Paul to edit this all out.
Get them up in your bank.
Get it in the bank, yeah. But Jay, thank you so much for sitting down with me. It was a pleasure.
Likewise, and I just want to say congratulations on the podcast. You're doing very well. I enjoyed them. One thing I will say that you're very good at, that I need to improve and that I take inspiration from you from, is actually listening. You know, a lot of time when I ask my guests a question, when they're telling the answer, I come up with another question and I interrupt their answer. Whereas you're very good at just listening. Do you know what I mean? And that's what a good host is all about. So thanks for that, and the best of luck going forward. And we will get you on the Did You Hear show.
Thanks, Will.
Cheers.